Fair enough.
It's the coldest January. This is what I thought. I was like, wow, it's really cold. I'm like, oh, did I say this? Like, but it is, you're saying it is cold.
No, she actually looked it up. She's like, doesn't it feel colder? And I was like, no, not really. Because, I mean, my relationship to cold is different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Warm
Very cold is too cold. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, too cold is too cold. When it feels like your lungs freeze when you take an inhale, that's too cold, as far as I'm concerned. How y'all doing? You know? Anything you want to work on today?
Chest opening.
Oh, yeah. Cool. We can do that. Yeah, I'm thinking while you're talking. Sorry.
Appreciate it.
Excellent. Let's actually start with a little chest opener. Grab your blanket. And then from here, unfold it once. Go ahead and roll it up from the longer edge. So it looks like this. It's been one of my favorite things recently. Then you can put the blanket roll behind you. So it's going up and down the length of the mat. Lay your spine right on it. I like it just like an inch or so behind the where you're seated. You can arrange that however it works. And then go ahead and lay all the way down. Now, if you're really tall, your head's going to fall off the back side of the blanket. And I'm going to bring you another one so you can be comfortable. Beautiful. And just let your arms relax. It's helpful to flip the palms up because your chest will start opening as well from that rotation of the shoulders. And just start to take some deep breaths in and out of your nose. And start to let your body relax a little. Now, let's take some breaths together. What we'll do is breathe in a nice, slow and deep breath. And then we'll pause at the top of the inhalation for about a count of 4. And then you'll exhale all the way out through the nose. Good. Now just go ahead and take that deep breath in. When you finish the inhalation, pause for a count of 4. And if that's not comfortable, 3 is fine, whatever works. And then you're going to exhale out through the nose. And then repeat that. So a full inhalation and hold for a count of 4-ish. And then breathe in out through the nose. Good. We'll do it a few more times. So in through the nose, count of 4. If you would like, optional, you can add a hold at the end of your exhalation for a count of 4 as well. So just keep breathing like this, in this manner. Inhale, count of 4, hold, exhale, maybe a 4 count hold. If it's difficult to do, if you're noticing it's like feeling uncomfortable, just reduce the amount of the hold of your breath. And we're almost there, a couple more breaths. Now, you'll continue to breathe in and out of your nose, but you can release that hold. Just kind of let the breath flow in and out. Let your shoulders relax, maybe a little bit more towards the ground. On your next inhalation, start to slowly reach your arms over your head. Just kind of reach them long. Stretch your fingers, stretch your arms out. You can reach your feet towards the front of the room if it feels good. Extending that through your whole body. Just imagine you're waking up every cell of your body with your breath, with this gentle movement. So just like maybe let the elbows and the wrists and the fingers move a little. Same with your legs. Just finding a little stretch, a little movement. And when you're ready, bend your knees and roll over to one side. And then just reach behind you for that blanket and move it out of the way. Roll back onto your back and right away hug your knees into your chest. Give them a little squeeze. And then start to move your knees in some nice circles, some big circles, all the way around. So you're actually massaging around the lower back and around the sacrum. You can feel that gentle pressure. This can be a very, wonderful way to ground your energy, just to massage the sacrum into the ground. It's reverse directions, circles the other way. So to enhance that, start to breathe a little bit more into your belly. Good. You can put your left foot on the ground, grab onto your right knee with your right hand, and start to lower it down towards the right. And as you do, flex your right foot and keep the whole right leg engaged. If it's more comfortable to have your left knee bent, you can keep it this way. If you're more comfortable straightening out your left leg, go ahead and straighten that out. We'll give it a couple of breaths. So you can place your right hand either underneath the right knee to support it. Sometimes I like to place it on top just to kind of press the knee down, and it engages the inner thigh muscle slightly, which when you engage a muscle you're stretching, it makes it a little safer because the muscle is less likely to tear when it's engaged in that way. Good. One more deep breath here. And then inhale, bring your knee back to center and interlace the hands behind the thigh. Straighten out your right leg. And then start to circle out your ankle. And just like point and flex the toes. Maybe try to spread your toes apart. Just get a little bit more of a feeling or connection with the foot. Good. Now flex your foot and use your right quad muscle to straighten your knee. So get your leg as straight as it can get. And if it's not perfectly straight, that's fine. But you're just going to continue to find that feeling of trying to straighten your knee. And then if your leg is straight, start to use the hands to pull your leg towards the wall behind you without letting that knee bend. Getting a deeper stretch down the back side of your leg. Now the whole time you're doing that, I want you to press your leg into your hands, just so you're trying to move the leg towards the front of the room, like resisting slightly the stretch, engaging the muscle that you're stretching. Now take 2 deep breaths into your belly. Keep the engagement in your leg. Like my leg is actually starting to shake from the effort. Now start to walk your hands up the back of your leg, lifting your hands all the way up to the calf or maybe the ankle. You're going to lift your head, neck, and chest off the ground. And take about 2 or 3 more breaths. Still working your right leg as straight as it can get. Good. All right, exhale. Bend your knee, slide your hand down your leg, and then grab onto your right knee with your left hand and just pull it right into a twist. And as you do, reach the right hand over to the right. And we'll take a few deep breaths here. Think of reaching your right hand over towards the right and your right knee over towards the left. Like you're widening the twist almost. You're reaching in both directions. It will lengthen your back slightly, creating a little more space for a twist. One more breath. So on your next inhale, roll onto your back again and switch your legs. So you can put your right foot on the ground, hug the left knee in, and start to circle the ankle out, spread and flex your toes. Just feel the toes, the foot, ankle, shins, everything. Lower part of the legs. You can even just send like a little thank you. That lower part of your legs, they hold a lot of weight. And they really are responsible for moving you around in your world, in this world. You do a lot of work for us. Let's have a little thank you for that. Interlace the hands behind the thigh and then flex your foot and start to straighten out your knee. If you want, you can straighten out the right leg as well. Keep it bent, especially if the back of your left leg feels really tight. It makes it a little bit of a less intense stretch to keep the right knee bent and the foot on the ground. Now, keep working on straightening out the left knee. And if you have it straight, excuse me, you can start using your hands to pull your leg towards the wall behind you. Kind of deepening the stretch. And at the same time, resist slightly. Just pressing your leg into your hands so that the muscles in the back of your leg engage a little. And then breathe into the lower part of your belly. And I find yoga to be very transformational. As you come into these poses and they are hard and they require a fair amount of focus, and at the same time you're asking your breath to slow down. So I find that you're literally training your nervous system to relate to the world from a different place. Like you slide right into that parasympathetic nervous system where you can find a place of being more relaxed and at ease. Start to walk your hands up the back of your leg. Lift your head, neck, and chest. Keep your left leg as straight as you can. Just breathe right into your belly. And so whether that's easy for you when you're outside of this room or outside of your mat, it doesn't necessarily matter. You're here to practice it. The more you practice, the more you kind of put a little like money in the piggy bank, so to speak, so that the thing starts to become just ever so slightly more natural, more easeful. As you exhale, slide the hands down the leg, bend your knee, grab onto it with your right hand, pull your knee across your body and come into a twist. Reach the left arm over to the left. And find that deep breath again, right into your belly. And one more breath. And on your next inhale, Roll onto your back. Bend both of your knees and roll over to one side into a fetal position. And then, right away, just press yourself up, coming all the way upright. And we'll come right into hero's pose. So hero's pose is you're basically sitting with your feet back. Your feet are a little wider apart, and your hips settle down in between your feet. And for most people, this causes a little bit of knee pain. So if you're feeling like that's too much in your knees, or even the front of your feet, sit up on anything. Blanket, blocks, any combination of all of them, so that you're not feeling any sort of pain in the knees or the tops of your feet. Maybe a stretch, but not pain. And the thigh bones make like a number 11. So the knees are a little apart, but they're not really wide apart. And then just put your hand, make a little fist, and kind of drive the knuckles into your foot. Lean side to side to massage your feet. You're welcome to close your eyes if you want. Just notice the feeling of swaying side to side. The feeling of releasing the tension that might be in your feet. Good. Now, move your hands just behind your feet and lean back. If this is a stretch for you, you can stay right here. Everyone, lift your hips up and tuck your tailbone under and lift your pubic bone up towards your ribs. Now, if it's not a stretch, start to bend your elbows and kind of lay yourself back. And a good halfway point is elbows on these blocks, or maybe elbows all the way to the ground. Just come down to wherever. If you're really lucky, you can get your back flat on the ground. Your knees are going to want to separate. You'll feel them kind of moving apart, which is okay, but you use the inner thigh muscles to squeeze knees back towards one another, aiming to get back into that sort of parallel thigh position. Let's take 2 more breaths into the belly here. Go ahead and let your head fall behind you. And at the same time you're doing that, press your elbows into the ground and lift your heart up. Good. 1 more breath. Now first lift your head, and then start to lift the heart, coming all the way back up. And then you just come all the way forward into a tabletop and move whatever props you have out of the way. And start to do a couple of cat-cows, or just like move your spine in a way that feels good, whatever that might be. Maybe side bends feel a little better for you today. And just find some nice movement in the spine. Good. Start to walk your hands forward. Keep your hips as close as to like right above the knees as you can. They might move back a little. Don't let them move back a lot. So most of the weight of your upper body is in your hands, very much like it is in downward facing dog. This is called puppy pose, I guess, because it's like a smaller version, I don't know, of downward facing dog. So you press your hands into the ground, your elbows are lifted. Now notice your upper arms. And roll those upper arms up towards the ceiling. So wait, let me be more specific. The part of your upper arms that's closest to your ears, your inner upper arms, roll that up towards the ceiling. So the outer part of the upper arms roll towards the ground. And you'll feel your shoulders kind of broaden a little bit, and it might be a little harder to actually engage the shoulders, and that's okay. You find kind of a halfway point. And then really allow your heart to move towards the ground without letting the elbows come down. Just stretching out the front of the chest. Take 1 more breath into your belly. Now, don't use your arms. Let your arms just go mostly limp and start to draw your belly in. Your belly button draws in, your tailbone drops, you round the spine, and you slowly start to come all the way up, one vertebra at a time, to a kneeling. Good. And then inhale, roll the shoulders forward and up. Exhale, move the shoulders back and down. Good. Do that a couple more times. Nice big shoulder rolls. Good. All right, inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Just take the hands, interlace them. You can point your pointer fingers if that's comfortable. And then look up at your hands and start to move your hands back along the wall towards the wall behind you. So it feels like a little bit of a back bend, just a little bit of one. Now at the same time, really draw your belly button in and drop the tailbone towards the ground, lifting your pubic bone up. And the more you engage the belly, the more you might be able to lean back into this a little. Yeah. And just kind of explore what it's like. Good. Inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, lower your hands all the way down. And we'll come into a downward facing dog. So you curl the toes under, lift your hips. You're welcome to walk it out a little bit if you'd like. And bending one knee, straightening the other, drop the heel towards the ground. Close your eyes. Invitation to close your eyes and just feel your body moving. Feel your breath moving. Good. 2 more breaths. Now walk your left foot forward, just a 1 foot distance. Put it on the ground, then walk your right foot forward like 1 foot distance. And just in that manner, slowly walk your feet all the way to the front. Taking a number of steps to get all the way there. Hands come or feet come in between the hands, and you're in a forward fold. You'll inhale, lift up halfway, and exhale, fold. Good. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach your arms all the way up over your head. And then bring your hands together in front of your heart. Balance your weight on your right leg. Just come onto the tip of your left toes. I like this intermediary just to get your ankle moving, like you start to feel the slight movements in your foot, your ankle, your hips. And once that feels good, start to lift the left leg up. You're going to bring your knee up to about the same height as your hip. And then, move your foot forward until it's right underneath your knee. Flex your foot. Draw your shoulders back, lean forward, and grab around your knee. So you're going to lean forward as much as you need to, depending on the length of your arms versus the length of your torso. Move your hips back when you do that. So this will engage your glutes a little bit more and create a nice little arch in your lower back. Draw the shoulders back, lift your heart up. Imagine you're trying to broaden your collarbones. And you're just looking out there at the horizon, wherever that is. Not necessarily down, not necessarily up. Mostly as straightforward as feels right. And then your breath just comes right in through the nose and out through the nose. Just start to notice the relationship you have to what might be happening, like the stress of balancing. There's stress there, like you want to do it right, don't you? And you start to feel your body, especially the longer you're in it, start to give way to that, needing to move. We just got 2 more breaths. You keep your breath as steady as you can. And on your next exhalation, lower your leg, your left leg down. You can shake it out if you like. All right, now your left leg takes the weight. You come onto the tip of the right toes. And just, find that balance. And then when you're ready, start to lift your right leg up. Bring your knee to the same height as your hip. Move your foot forward so it's right underneath your knee. Flex your foot. Draw your shoulders back so you're broad through the chest. And then lean forward as much as you need to get your hands around your knee. Move your hips back. Your glutes will engage a lot more than normal when you do that. Yeah, that looks good. No, you're out looking at the horizon again.
Same me.
No, opposite. Just find your breath. Now, whatever's happening in your mind, which it might be racing, might be moving, it might be whatever it's doing, I want you to keep your breath as steady as you can. So you're finding like maybe a little juxtaposition. Like there's something in you that's calm and settled, and something in you that's not. That has a little more activity or movement or worry. That's okay. Just focus in on your breath a little more and breathe all the way in. Maybe find a slight pause at the top of your inhalation. Good, you're almost there. Take 2 more breaths. And then exhale, slowly lower all the way back down. You can shake out your standing leg. Might feel good just to move your hips. Maybe in some circles, maybe side to side. All right. Good. Separate your feet just a little bit. Draw your shoulders, like do a big shoulder roll up and back, and then squeeze the shoulders, those shoulder blades together on your back, and reach behind you and grab onto the hands. So you're going to interlace hands and squeeze as close as you can so the hands come together as much as possible, which I can't do. I have this tennis elbow thing. And it really hurts it. So squeeze the palms together as much as you can. Draw the shoulders back. Lift your heart up. And then think of moving your hips back as you hinge forward. So you're going to keep your spine as straight as you possibly can. And you'll start to hinge forward. And then at some point, the back of your leg, you're going to be like, okay, that's enough of the hinging at the hips, which is fine. You're going to stay there. And then try to lift your hands up away from your back body, up towards the ceiling. And if you're really flexible on the shoulders, the hands might start to move towards the windows. Good. Turn your head to the right, look to the right. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, turn your head to the left. Now, just find that breath. Do that 2 more times with your neck. Good. When you're complete with the movements of the neck, lower your hands to your hips and then slide your hands all the way down your legs, all the way to the ground. And you might need to bend your knees. And then you'll plant the hands to the ground, step your feet back, come into a downward facing dog. And then bend your knees and start to round the spine. Use your legs to push yourself forward. Straighten everything out and come into a plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way to the ground. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Now, any kind of cobra is fine, but use your back muscles first before using the arms to push yourself up. And one more time. All right, inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Bend your knee. And lift your knee up towards the ceiling. Turn your hips towards the right. So you're going to rotate the hips and the belly to the right as far as you can. Keep lifting the right knee up, but let the right foot descend towards the ground. That helps you twist. This is stretching your psoas. It's a muscle right at the front of your belly, right by your hip bone. Take one more deep breath in. And on your next inhalation, straighten the legs, straighten the hips. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands, come into a lunge. Now, you might have to arrange your feet so you can get a nice stable lunge. And start to reach your hands forward. And then inhale from your belly, rise all the way up. There you go. Good. Now, again, interlace the hands, maybe reach the pointer fingers up. Look up. So start to move your hands, your fingers along the ceiling towards the wall behind you. So it's like you're tracing a line along the ceiling backwards. Now, core is strong. Pubic bone lifts, tailbone moves towards the ground. Whew. One more breath. Good. Inhale. Back to center. And exhale. All the way down. So hands come down to one side or either side of the right foot. Put your left knee down. And then grab a block for underneath your left hand. It is optional, but it's highly encouraged. I find a lot more gangcliff twist when I put my hand on something. So put your right hand on your right knee or thigh and start to rotate towards the right. Good. So your left hand is either on the ground or the block, and I want you to push it down and then like kind of rebound that action. So you're lifting up through the chest and start to rotate your chest and then reach your right hand straight back towards the wall behind you with your palm up. So you're just kind of rotating, big rotation. Draw the right shoulder back and then bend your left knee and reach down for your foot. And if you can grab it, great. If you can't, it's fine. Just keep reaching. If you do have your foot in your hand, I want you to kick your foot into your hand and use that to move your shoulder back a little more, opening up the front of the chest. 2 more breaths. And it's okay to roll towards the outer edge of your right foot. So if you're feeling that tendency, good. Now inhale, reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. So like make a big rainbow arc around the body, and then hand comes right back down to the ground. One hand on either side of your right leg. And then move your right hand inside of the right foot. And then start to move your right foot out a little. So it's a little wider. And then allow your foot to rotate out a little and your knee to rotate out a little bit. And then how much you do that really depends on your hip and your flexibility and the shape of your hip. Then you start to bend your elbow, both elbows, and lower your torso towards the ground. Maybe bringing elbows to the ground. Maybe bringing elbows to blocks. Good. Now, once you've found a comfortable position, so your elbows are on the blocks or on the ground, I want you to close your eyes and just completely focus on the movement of your breath. And if you're really good at this, you might be able to do that for a second. I notice my brain likes to think a lot, right? Like just completely focus on your breath, that act of like nothing else is there. Yeah, is that true? So all you gotta do is focus in on your breath as much as you can, and then you're gonna be like, oh, there goes some more thoughts, and then you just do it again. You do it again. You focus completely on the breath, and then maybe you get to 2 seconds, and you just continue that same process, finding your way to your breath. The rest of the pose is, a little intense. Now imagine you're sliding the front of your chest forward. So it's likely you're kind of rounded and your head is falling towards the ground. I want you to see if you can undo that. So move your chest forward and get your back a little straighter. Keep that breath. Really focusing on your breath again. Good. 2 more breaths. Ooh. All right. Walk your hands, or come up onto your hands, I should say. And then toe heel your foot back in towards a lunge, so one hand on either side of the right foot. Curl the left toes under, lift the left knee, and step your right foot back into a downward facing dog. So that was a big stretch. We spent a fair amount of time in it, so you might want to move your hips around a little, or And you kind of bend and straighten the leg. So find any movements in the downward facing dog that feel good. Now, just step your right foot forward, like 1 foot distance, like not far. And then just step your left, and one by one, foot by foot, really slowly walk all the way forward until your feet are right in between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. And inhale, raise all the way up, reach your arms up over your head. And then hands come together in front of your heart. Bend the knees and sit down into chair pose. As you do that, really think of moving your hips back. So if your hips move back, it's natural for your chest to kind of move forward. It keeps the center of balance of your body. So even though your chest is moving forward, I want you to lift your heart up. So you create a back bend feel in the spine. Now all the weight goes into the right leg, and the left foot comes up on top of the right thigh in a figure 4. So you can use your hands. I know I usually need to get that foot up there, and then hands come back together from the heart. Flex your left foot and press the left foot down into the top of the right thigh so you feel your left glute engage. Again, you're engaging your muscle you're stretching. Draw your shoulders down. Hard lifts. Now I want you to imagine you're compressing the whole pose. So everything about it starts to compress. So the knee bends a little, the hip bends a little more, your chest moves towards the ground, the heart still lifts up. You come down to wherever you can as far as the stretch. Usually the stretch in the left glute is going to tell you where to go. Then take 2 more breaths. Keep that breath flowing in and out of your nose. No matter where you are, if this is really hard, if you're not doing it wherever you are, just keep letting that breath flow. Good. All right. Inhale. Start to rise up. Reach your arms up over your head. Move your knee in front of your body. And then exhale. Lower the left foot down. Bring your hands together or hands to side. You can move your hips a little bit. Getting kind of deep into the hips a little today. So moving, kind of a great way for your body to reset itself. All right, let's do the other side. Inhale, lift your arms up, lift your heart. Bring hands together in front of the heart. Bend your knees, move your hips back. Start to sit down into a chair pose. So as you sit down, ideally you want to have your heels about inner hips distance apart. So for women, that's a little wider apart actually than men. Their hips are wider. And then your knees the same distance as your feet. So the knees aren't closer together than the feet are wider apart. Lift your heart up, draw your shoulders back. Now the right foot comes up on top of the left thigh in figure 4. So flex the right foot. Press the right foot down into the top of the left thigh. So the right hip, the right glute engages. Breathe in and out of your nose. Wherever you are with this, however it shows up, even if it's incredibly frustrating, you're still breathing and you're being with frustration, you're being with difficulty, you're being with stress in a different way. Now just start to compress the whole pose, like deepen it all. Bend your knee, bend your hip, sink down. Heart still lifts. You've got 2 more breaths. All right, now on your inhale, start to rise up and reach your arms up over your head. Lift your knee up so it's right and straight in front of your body. And then exhale, lower the foot, bring your arms down. Shake it out, move your hips. Feels good. All right. Come to the top of your mat. We'll inhale, lift the arms, lift the heart. And exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Plant your hands, hop or step your feet back, downward facing dog. Curl your chin to your chest, round your spine. Use your legs to push yourself forward and then straighten everything out to a plank. Exhale, lower all the way down. Uncurl your toes and inhale, cobra pose. And again, primarily use your back and then secondarily use your arms. We'll exhale, release. 2 more times. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, release. 1 more time. Good. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Bend your knee. Rotate your hips towards the left and lift your left knee up towards the ceiling. Now, as your left knee is lifting, imagine your left foot moving towards the ground. So that will help you rotate into this big psoas stretch here. Just breathe into the front of the belly, right there by the left hip. Good. 1 more time. 1 more breath, I should say. And inhale, straighten your legs, straighten your hips. And exhale, step your left foot in between your hands. All right, rearrange your feet if you need to get in a nice solid lunge. And then start to reach your hands straight forward. So get long first, and then use your belly and your hips to rise all the way up. Interlace the hands, pointer fingers out. Look up at your hands and start to trace the hands along the ceiling towards the wall behind you. And leaning back a little. I find it really helpful to engage the back leg a little more. So imagine you're pressing your heel, your right heel back. Tailbone towards the ground, pubic bone up. Then elongate your core, yeah. That was great. Now, however it shows up, just take 2 more really slow and deliberate breaths. Right. Inhale. Start to release and exhale. Lower your hands right back down to the ground. So right hand comes to the ground and grab a block. We'll put it underneath the right hand. And then put your left hand on your left thigh and start to rotate to the left. So use your hand first to help it just a little. Oh, everybody, sorry. Lower your back knee to the ground. I forgot to say that. Right knee is on the ground. All right, now start to find that twist again. And reach your left hand back with the palm up. So this right here, you're opening the shoulder and you're stretching the front of the chest. A really awesome stretch. And you can bend your right knee, lift your foot up. And if you're right here and you can't quite grab your foot, you're fine. This is an awesome pose. If you can grab your foot, start to kick your foot into your hand. And that will start to open the chest even more. So wherever you are, take a few more breaths. Slow as you can, in and out of the nose. Say 1 more breath. Good. Now reach the left arm up towards the ceiling and then all the way around in front of you. And then put your left hand on the ground. And you put it right inside of the foot. You can toe-heel your left foot over to the left a little bit. And then, start to bend your elbows and lower your torso down inside of that knee. Now again, you can bring your elbows to the ground or to your blocks. And if you're not, even from side to side, which we normally aren't, it's okay, just embrace it and do a similar intensity from side to side rather than the exact same pose. Now close your eyes and just focus in on your breath again. And really entirely focus your awareness on your inhalation and your exhalation. And then just notice how like little thoughts are behind it. Like you just kind of hear yourself thinking behind the focus of your breath, right? It's there. It doesn't ever go away, by the way. What we start to do is we start to train our mind to have more of a focus on the sound of the breath and less of the thoughts in the back of your mind. Right? So they become maybe quieter is a good word, or a little less obvious. Certainly doesn't grab you. Like sometimes one of those thoughts kind of grabs your awareness and you're out of breathing. And you're just like, oh my God, that thing happened earlier today and my mom is such a bitch, and whatever it is, right? A couple more breaths, everyone. Oh, actually, more than a couple. We're gonna start reaching the chest forward. Get as straight as you can in your spine. All right. When you're ready, come back up onto the hands. Toe heel your left foot back into a lunge, so one hand's on either side of the left foot. Curl the right toes under, lift, and then step your left leg back into a downward facing dog. And go ahead and move your hips or legs. Good. Curl your chin to your chest, around the spine. Come all the way forward to plank. And then exhale, lower, all the way down. Inhale, cobra pose. And exhale, release. 2 more cobra poses, any height you want. Again, just focus on primarily using your back. All right. Place either your chin or your forehead on the ground so that your neck is neutral. And then reach your hands backwards and put your palms on the ground right next to your hips. And then go ahead and bend your knees. I like to lift the knees up when I do that and just kind of stretch out through the knees a little bit so that the front of the hips feel a little looser. Now, draw the shoulders up away from the ground. Lift your hands up, but keep the palms down. And then start to lift your head, neck, and chest. Good. Now, if you can, reach your feet. Go ahead and grab them. And if you cannot, you're fine. You can do this pose right from here. So start to lift your knees up away from the ground. Kick your feet into your hands. And just allow that kicking to open the chest a little more. Lift the knees, lift the heart. Lift the knees, lift the heart. Take 3 more breaths. You're looking sort of forward, but mostly down, so your gaze should be sort of at the ground. You want to keep your neck neutral. Good. 1 more breath in, and as you exhale, lower all the way down. And then just turn your head one way and rest your arms wherever they're comfortable. And again, focus on your breath, that movement of the breath in and out, so you can probably hear your breath. And I find that sound of the breath a great place to focus the awareness. Turn your head the other way. Again, just find your breath. The second Yoga Sutra, if you're ever to read Yoga Sutras, just kind of like your roadmap to what is this yoga thing. The second one is very telling. It's like a roadmap to, what the goal of this yoga journey is. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which really means the cessations of mental modifications, or to quiet your mind. Start to roll over onto your back when you're ready. All of this stuff, all of these poses, everything we do, put the soles of your feet together, let your knees fall wide. Stretch on the inner thighs. If that's not comfortable, put your feet on the ground, knock your knees in. All these poses, all this practice, everything that we do in these classes is really for that, to focus our mind. And I can tell you, when I first started doing this, I thought that meant that I was going to have an empty mind. Like there was going to be not a single thought in it, blank. After years of practice, what I'm realizing is that's not it. It's like asking your heart to stop beating. The organ of your heart is made for that. It's made to pump. Now you can slow it down, you can make it faster, but stopping it would end your life. And I think it's the same with your mind. Your mind is created to think. And a lot of the thoughts are some things you can't even hear. Like the thoughts, the parts of your mind that tell your eyes to blink and your heart to beat and all the things in your body to move. And to stop your mind, I think would stop your life. The practice of yoga really is to take those thoughts in our mind and let them become more and more and more in like the back seat, a little quieter, and to learn to focus more and more on what it is that we choose. So I always use breath in the class. What is it that you choose to really focus on? When you start to be less, you can straighten the legs and just make your way to Shavasana when you're ready. Become less and less prone to the fluctuations of our mind, the movements of our thought. Our actions become more and more consistent to what we want, the more we can focus in on that. So, what is it that you want to focus on? I'm going to focus on having more of an open heart. So every conversation, every step you take, everything you do, start to do it with a more open heart. The more you can focus your mind on that, let yourself relax into this idea. So we'll take a couple more deep breaths. Begin to wiggle your fingers, your toes. Start to stretch out a little. Move around any way that feels right. Bend your knees and roll over to one side into a fetal. Pause there and just take a couple big breaths into your back. I always pause and breathe into the back. Breathe into like the support structure of your life, of your body. What holds you up. And on your next inhalation, rise all the way up to a seat. And come into anything that's comfortable as far as a seat. Whatever works for your body. Well, once you're there, bring your hands together in front of your heart, Anjali Mudra. And we'll close our practice today with one Om, followed by Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just take a breath together. So full inhale and a slow breath out. And a breath into Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bow your head to your heart, to the light that shines in every one of us. I bow. Namaste.
Namaste.
Yay. Thank you, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Stay warm. Apparently, it's colder than ever.